Welcome back. Well, her polling numbers show a dramatic resurgence. In some polls, the Green Party is overtaking the NDP for the bronze medal position with the election 4 months out. I spoke to Green Party leader Elizabeth May last week, just before the House of Commons adjourned for the summer. And Green Party leader Elizabeth May joins me in the studio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You know, if I look at these election polls, and polls are very dangerous things to put any faith into, but if I look at the polls, I mean, some polls you're vaulting ahead of the NDP. How do you maintain that momentum?
Well, we have to keep doing, I guess we do what we're doing. I don't know
what
how
are you doing?
Well, that's another good question. I look at the polls and I think, it feels like that on the ground too, but I don't put a lot of faith in polls. I'm continuing to do community tours and open town hall meetings across the country. We have candidates who are excellent, who need to get out in front of the public so people can see them. Did you see that Greg Malone, who founded Codco, is running for us in Newfoundland?
Well, you got your husband running on it.
My husband, John Kidder, Mission Matsui Fraser Canyon. So we have a lot of really great candidates, but for momentum, basically you need to stay in the conversation. And I think right now Canadians who want to see real climate policy are saying, okay, so that's the Greens. The Greens have the only real climate policy. I better go there.
But why? I mean, there's more to this than just Elizabeth May and the Green Party. You're seeing it in provinces as well. Right. A lot of major developments in provinces, particularly like in PEI this year. I mean, is it just a climate change thing, or are people just fed up with the status quo parties and are looking for somewhere else?
I think it's a bit of both. And by the way, I think we have a very good chance of electing Greens in Manitoba on September 10th. So I'm thinking we might get another bump in momentum as we go into the federal election. I think there's a general sense, if you look at, looking at polls, people are looking for ethics in government. And I'm very honored that people would recognize the Greens as the most ethical party and me as the most ethical leader. But I don't really trust polls either, Don. So I have to say, I hope that what I'm seeing is support for Greens and not just disillusionment with everybody else. But I think it may start with people saying, oh gosh, what are my alternatives? I don't think I can vote for the party I always used to vote for. Right. I don't like those other parties. Let me have a look and see if these Greens are more than just a one-issue party. And then they say, oh, I actually like what I see.
And are you more than just a one-issue party? Because, you know, people look to you and say, all right, that's fine and dandy, but what's you going to do for the economy?
Yeah.
What's you going to do to help me as a middle-class Canadian?
Well, you know, we're the only party that in 2011 had our platform reviewed by the Parliamentary Budget Office to make sure that we could say this is fiscally sound. In 2015, the PBO decided they wouldn't do that anymore, but now we're already in there. They have our whole budget. We're not releasing our platform till we're sure they've crunched our numbers. So we are a fiscally responsible party, and that's an aspect of Greens that a lot of people may not know. I mean, sometimes when Preston Manning says we have to live within our means economically and ecologically, and one time I said, Preston, you know, I said that first. You know, we have this conversation. So we believe in getting to balanced budgets, but we're not an austerity party. The opposite. We think we need to have adequate revenues to cover the needs of Canadians, which include pharmacare, include guaranteed livable income, include abolishing tuition. So we're not on one issue, and historically we never have been. Actually, we were the first party in Canada to call for equal marriage, the first party to call for legalizing cannabis. There's a whole list of things where we were there first, and that's fine, because we eventually, if we go first and we survive taking a position that's right, but maybe outside the status quo, it will eventually create space for the other parties to come along and take our ideas, and as long as they don't mess them up. If they really...
That's a big if.
Well, I mean, I love Stéphane Dion, but he really messed up the green shift, which was elements of our policy. Right. And should have been able to be communicated well. Here we are with Trudeau claiming to be a climate leader, but not adopting the Paris targets, and wasting public funds on a pipeline. And we have Andrew Scheer at least talking about climate change, which I appreciate that we're now in a place where we can say what policies are good, what could we do together. Right. But again, Scheer's policies blow us right through Paris and into a dangerous runaway acceleration of global warming. So I'll always come back to climate change as the fundamental security threat we have to deal with. But we've never been a one-issue party.
Think about the Green Party, and I don't think I've ever heard you pretend that this election is going to end with Elizabeth May in 24 Sussex or whatever else. You're running to be a force, but not necessarily Prime Minister. But the question always is, this Parliament, if some of these polls are indicative, could put you in a balance of power situation. Yeah. And I know it's dangerous to sort of get to that stage before we get there, but can you not see yourself supporting Andrew Scheer under any circumstances?
Oh, of course I could.
Oh.
The issue for Greens around the world is, and Andrew Weaver went through this recently with the BC Greens in 2017, and my own MLA, whose name is Adam Olson, and he's Sartlip First Nation and just a genius guy. When the media was coming to him and saying, well, you Greens, you have the balance of power, he said, no, we have the balance of responsibility. And I can totally see me with a lot of Green colleagues in that position. And the responsibility, just as my Australian Green colleagues have done in the past and German Greens, is you talk to everybody and say, okay, where is the party or the combination of parties where collaboration can be the rule of the day, where we can agree on what needs to be done and do it together. But, you know, I don't want to rule out being Prime Minister just in case anyone wants to know. I'd be very good at it, but, you know.
Bottom line, is environmental policy the ballot box issue, or do you see that as one of a basket of issues that people decide?
I think it depends how you ask. I think for our kids, they're looking at the climate crisis as our generation stealing their future. It's not right. It's really fundamentally immoral. They're looking at it and saying, well, somebody better guarantee that I'm going to have a future. That's key. For a lot of the grandparents, it's the same. I don't want to leave my grandkids with this mess. But for a lot of Canadians, in a more general sense, I mean, if you look at the tumbling fortunes of Liberals since the beginning of this year, you'd have to say it's ethics, and it's a question of how did the SNC-Lavalin thing get handled. So I think we're on sound footing on both issues. We really believe in improving democracy, engaging Canadians, being a party that wants to be inclusive. We'll never be divisive. I can't stand the politics of division that say that other guy is your problem or this province versus that province. We need to pull together. So a bit of both, but right now the wind is in our sails, and I'm actually looking forward to the fall election.
You're looking forward to it. Well, Elizabeth May, you're going to have a busy summer. Good luck with that, and we'll talk to you hopefully during the campaign.
Maybe we'll see you in the summer for the NAFTA vote.
Maybe we will. All right, thanks again.
Thanks, Don.